Throughout my travels, I'm trying to find little tastes of Canada along the way. And when you talk about taste and Canada in Japan, most people immediately think of maple syrup. But there's one guy who's trying to change the conversation. Jamie Paquin fell in love with wine when he came to Tokyo for school and decided to bring some of Canada's best small wineries to the Japanese stage.
Tokyo is an extremely sophisticated culinary city, and just everywhere you go, people care about what they consume. With wine, it was here that I started to pay attention, and that led me, when I went back to Canada, to dig deeper and discover, that we were making all kinds of world-class wines, but not necessarily what you'd find on the shelves at the LCBO in Ontario or something. But if you knew where to go, then you'd find incredible wine. It just started to occur to me that I'd want to bring them, and so I started talking about that with my wife, and by chance she ran into an ad for consultants who help people get their licenses for wine importation. And so then it was a few months after that we actually had a license to do it, and just started really coming together because we could actually make the process a reality.
Tell me a little bit about the reaction when you have a Japanese customer come through the door and they look at you and they say Canada and wine, and don't think necessarily the two go together.
Yeah, so that's one of our biggest challenges. Even a lot of Canadians don't understand that the wine growing regions that we have, but we're working against the way Canada's been marketed abroad historically, where all you see is Rocky Mountains and Northern Lights and maple syrup. The most common thing we do here is educate people for like 10 solid minutes at first, give them a new perception of Canada, make these wines intelligible by making them understand that these regions are really well suited to grape growing, make them understand the type of people involved, that it's a very serious undertaking, and then explain that the reason they don't know these exist is because of quantities. So we're producing about 0.5% of the world's wine, so there's not much to go around, and that's why they've never heard of it. But it's funny, like if there's a wine that we're down to 3 or 5 bottles and I mention that to a customer and there's an option, that's the one they buy. And it's very true that often we're dealing with wines that I begged the producer to sell to me, and then when we tell the story of that, like this wine we just got in last week, it was chosen number 2 in the world outside Burgundy for Chardonnay by the British magazine Decanter, and we could only get 60 bottles of this wine. It's only 6,500 bottles production to begin with. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty easy sell. Once someone comes in and they love Burgundy and Chardonnay, and they hear the kind of accolade that wine has, and they hear how few bottles. We're down to 17 bottles since Monday on that, because we had some restaurants and so on that wanted it. We're quite proud to have producers like Foxtrot from the Okanagan Valley, which is a super premium Pinot Chardonnay producer, 1,500, 2,000 cases a year.
When you talk to a winemaker, what's the first reaction that they get, especially because you deal with the smaller wineries, you don't deal with the big Jackson Triggs and those kind of places?
Yeah. Well, one thing they often say is we don't have enough wine, and I'm saying, don't worry, I can't buy that much yet. A lot of them are often unaware that Japan has such a sophisticated wine culture too. So all of those things are factors that usually come into play at first. But then where we do well, I think, is when we approach producers who are proud of what they make, and then they see we genuinely have a passion for what they're doing, and then they understand that Tokyo is a place where people would take the time to appreciate what they do. That's a nice fit there. There's a lot of room for improvement in the way Canada promotes itself internationally, but at the same time, I think Canada historically has been this branch plant society, living comfortably off selling its resources to the United States primarily, and that's dampened our own development of our own things and our own refinement of high quality products. And so wine in particular is an area where it's deeply attached to a place, because grapes are so sensitive to the particular conditions they grow. It's not like you simply import raw materials and you manufacture something, but it's that intersection of nature and the human factor. So this is an area where Canadians are demonstrating excellence in a finished product, and that I feel a sense of pride seeing that happen, and I like to share it.
You can find out more about Heavenly Vines by visiting their website at heavenlyvines.com. You can find out more about me and my trip at gonejohn.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel for many more videos like this one.